about survival at this point, about keeping them in contention here and staying out of relegation. Let's see if they're going to be able to do that or if the Soniqs will dominate. First ban's already coming up. It's going to be Thatcher, knocked out by the Soniqs.
Good start inside of the bands here. See how the rest of this rolls through. Cafe, a map that is quite difficult to clear. That's mostly what it's chalked up to being, especially with, well, this coming in right here, quite unique, but especially with the pinch points inside of Cafe, you really got to look to clear out a lot of those areas, specifically Pixel upstairs, quite the hindrance early on inside of the round. But as we get down through these, Maestro going to get banned out. That's one that we saw from earlier on as well. Remember, with Echo being out currently due to him being permanently banned for the time being, he's inside of quarantine. Let me word that better. Let me rephrase. He's inside of quarantine. Maestro being banned means that you don't have him or Maestro anymore. Last ban going to come through here. This is going to be the Soniqs taking away Wamai. Another nice ban here, and that's going to make it to where Capital is actually in a really strong spot. Nomad, that's a pretty strong one as well for Tempo Storm. They're not going to have to worry that much once they get to defense about those rotations. But for Soniqs, this is going to open up a lot of possibilities. Your rotations from downstairs are going to be needed to be manned by someone. There's a lot of positives for the defense with that Nomad ban coming off the board.
It's also going to shift Super, because Super, like, has, at least from what I've been seeing, has been playing a lot of Nomad as well. So it's going to throw him off. I mean, obviously a little bit to be forced on another operator there too, because they were using it pretty much on all of their attacking rounds, if memory serves me correctly. And even if it's not all of them, historically, just looking back on the last few matches so far, even back to like stage 1, Super's always used that. So it's definitely something that the folks on Tempo can pretty much guarantee the Soniqs are going to bring. So it's a pretty safe ban.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to be honest with you for a second, Nomad is one of the most annoying people on this map in the planet.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many spots, John. You have no idea. We have a Nomad main on our my personal team right now that I'm coaching, and my God, dude, some of the things that I see, it's not okay. Like, just air jabs in general, just not fun. Like, for instance, there's a bullet hole one on the red, like the red stairs rotate. You can literally shoot a single bullet through the glass, and it makes a bullet hole inside of the wood. You put the air jab on it, and if somebody walks past it, not only is it silent, but it also knocks them on the floor and you get a free kill. So like it's little things like that are just so cheap on this map. I definitely like think it's a very smart ban overall.
All right, well, let's see how Tempo are going to fare without that operator, among the others, of course, that had been banned out as well. It is going to be, looks like a second floor hold to start things out on here for the for the Soniqs roster. That is going to include the extended third floor pressure still, which we're seeing used quite a bit right now. Iconic, of course, is doing his investigation on the pulse, trying to see just how many players might be contributing to the starting top-down clear. And if he's doing his investigation right, he's going to see all 4 of the ones from Tempo that have moved up to the top, soon to be 5 as well, as Dream is not too far away.
That Nitro sailed for forever and a day out of Iconic's hands. I can't even explain it to you, man. It looked like Tom Brady threw straight up and it just never came back down. Yeah, I don't know. That was something crazy.
I kind of expected it, but I never saw it. So I tried to sneak that one in. Got a little bit of damage off onto creators, but nothing significant, obviously, as of this point in the round. And with that having been gone, we're going to see the immediate retreat from Iconic and the immediate drop down from at least 2 members of Tempo Storm as they do start to take that hatch control and begin their top-down clear.
Positive beginnings here for Tempo Storm. Soniqs still having top control. A little bit of damage onto Easily as Jarvis predicts his positioning off of his Jackal ping. Just waiting for him to peek back into his sightline. But Tempo Storm still has a lot to deal with upstairs if they do want to try and go for this dining take. Granted, they don't have to worry about the verticality inside of that area, so the Soniqs can just ditch really whenever they want to at this point in time. The verticality is not going to be different, all except for the reading area, but obviously they're still going to have some presence across the map if they have that verticality. This is exactly not what you want to give the offense. But Dream, with a very nice rotate here, might end up picking himself up a kill, but not ready for the man to peek from Stacks. Gompi with a very nice kill on the FMG, as Sleben follows through as well. That's 2 early kills onto Tempo Storm as they look flabbergasted. They're still trying to work their way across bar. Crazy finally picks up 1, but they still have to battle back through this utility.
Crazy, definitely the start of some good impact here, is up until this point, it seemed like Tempo kind of been throwing themselves at the Soniqs to try and get map control, and ultimately not really working out too well for them, but that's the start of a change, hopefully, throughout the rest of this round. Still A little under a minute to go here, so Tempo have got a couple more seconds to try and gather intel and figure out what exactly the strategy is going to be. But after that, it needs to be all commitment, and we need to see it happen very, very soon, like I was saying before, as we approach the 30-second mark here. A few more top-down angles being opened up. The members of Tempo hoping that they're going to get lucky and find players in more standard positions, but as of this point, we haven't seen that yet. Craters finally committing himself to the drop-down, but as you can see, there's just a sea of players from the Sonics spread out across this floor. It is not going to be an easy task to get into the site, let alone win out this round. Great reaction from Jarvis there, but it only saves him for a second as Gomfi's there to trade him out a moment later. Crazy as well gets himself 2 more for 3 overall on the round now, but he is unfortunately out of time, and Super is going to take the safe route to win that one. He'll dive into the library, keep himself up, and win it on the timer.
Quite an explosive beginning here to Cafe. See if this
something crazy in round 1. You notice that? Like round 1 on the last map, he went insane as well.
I mean, it's mostly just because of what the defense has been doing so far. You know what I mean? Like Soniqs, very aggressive front. I really like the pulse play and how they were trying to get the early pick. Not a lot of people are going to be suspecting that, you know? Like nobody was even looking to the sky when they opened that hatch, you know what I mean? Like the nitro cell all of a sudden went off, and I think the Tempo Storm got scared for just a second, as that was not supposed to be there. But overall, a nice fight back there from Tempo Storm. They handled the situation upstairs nicely. They got the picks that they needed. But, I mean, the rest of the kills just came in quite late. But I will say this, Gomfi with a very nice rotation. Really just the star of that round goes all the way over to Red Stairs, able to play the footholds that they have inside of that hallway. And that's what's been very strong from the Sonics inside of both of these maps so far, is they have these little niche setups around the map to where you can move to that and play that position, and it's very, very strong. Instead of it just being an angle for one thing, you now have some protective cover or something along those lines with multiple angles that you can use to slow down the offense. I like what they bring to the table.
All right, now the setup for the Sonics is, of course, going to shift up to the 3rd floor now. No first floor hold just as of yet. Oh, hold on. We might be canceling this round out.
5 seconds remaining.
Just waiting on a confirmation here. But either way, we'll continue talking about it as if the round is live until we get confirmation of the rehost. But one was called for by the Sonics. Oh, and there we go. Yep, so we are going to rehost it here. But either way, just to take the conversation back to much more of an overall perspective here, Sonics definitely with a good start in the map here so far, getting themselves off to a good foot, nearly losing it once again due to the heroics from Crazy that seemed to show up on the first round, and then we don't see as much of it a little bit after that. Similar fate that he suffered back on the first map as well. But we'll see if he gets an opportunity to do that a little bit later on. We're just going to close out that round really quickly, and then of course look to rehost this game as fast as possible.
Well, as we wait for them to get in, let's talk some things, man. There's already been quite a few rounds between these teams. Obviously, most of them have been Oregon, as we are on to Cafe, but I feel like the defensive setups, granted they are on 2 different maps, but have a lot of similarities in what, you know, the Sonics have been doing, what their game plan is up against Tempo Storm. And it seems to be a lot of pacing control. You know what I mean? If they don't try and handle a problem that the Sonics have presented them, then they'll be very aggressive. But if they try to, they'll be passive, they'll play their angles. It's just very nice setups overall. What's your take on it?
No, I kind of agree with you for the most part. Sonics have been playing their game like exactly the way they need to here. I like the weighted aggression that we're seeing, especially in the early round, and the best part is too is they don't seem to be like overplaying their hand a lot, which is a trap a lot of teams seem to fall into with their roam games, where they, you know, have a bad round with their roaming and they try to double down on it on the following round and still end up just losing more and more, which leaves the anchors just like kind of out to die in like a 2 or 3vx, however they have their setups positioned. But I've noticed that like when Sonics have had bad rounds with their roam game, they pull it back. They try to restrain it a lot more on the following round and kind of, you know, feel it out a little bit more before extending that net out once again. So they're playing that part of the game really smart right now, in my opinion, as well. And that's leading to not necessarily the most impact in the early round, but it's keeping the team consistent as we get to more mid and late round situations, which I think is giving them a much greater capability to actually win out rounds as we get towards the closing moments of each one.
Yeah, actually, that brings up a point that you and I talked about earlier. We talked about in Map 1 how Sonics were really, really good in the clutch. And I think that might be by design with these defenses, that they know that the Sonics are good in the clutch. So if they have to be aggressive towards these positions of the offense and they get picked off, everything is still pretty gravy overall, just because they know that their site players can handle quite a few things. Granted, obviously, if things get drastic and the offense is in a 5 versus 2, then the Soniqs aren't going to fare as well. But if it comes down to, a 4v3 or something along those lines, then they definitely feel comfortable in that position.
Not to mention, at least looking at the Oregon results, some really good heads-up play from a few of the members of the Soniqs too, like that attic pinch we saw from their 2 roamers that were holding downstairs on one of their kids' defenses. That was really nice from them, and obviously put them in a great position to close it. They still nearly lost it after that, so there's still like occasional issues popping up in gunfights specifically, but there's not much you can do with regards to like critiquing that at this point. That's just a lot of that's just kind of the way the game plays out, and obviously like you got to hit up the DMs for fixing those. So there's not a huge discussion we could have in that part of the game. But overall, I think Soniqs are playing a really strong game right now. Tempo's keeping up as well. Just to talk about them here for a second as well. Tempo's still definitely keeping very close to them on the scoreline here, but possibly needing to bring just a little bit more for them to be able to actually close out a map here. I am a little bit worried for Tempo. Soniqs is very much in the controlling position, in my opinion, at this point in the game.
I'm not worried at all, mainly because it's Cafe. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
It's really defensive-sided. Even with the Wamai ban, it's still defensive-sided. Mainly because of like what we saw right there. It's very difficult to clear out Cafe, especially when you have a bunch of people shooting at you. So it's not the most fun map in the world when it comes to playing offense. So we'll see if Tempo can weather the storm here and get through this offensive side with a couple of rounds in their bag to make things just a touch easier. Let's jump back into the map now, folks, and see what we got cooking. We're going to be headed back to the same site with the exact same operators, so don't be expecting anyone to have some big brain change up.
And okay. So I think what? Oh, did they really just do that? So they locked random site, I think, and they can't change it now.
No, it's not that.
Oh, what happened?
Our observer locked the wrong site. So he clicked the site that they were going to probably,
okay,
and then locked that one
wrong.
because it would say that they previously won it, right? So a little bit of miscommunication there, folks. But hey, don't be too mad, guys. Everyone's human. Everybody makes mistakes. Trust me, I do them all the time, mostly on broadcast. So, that's just how it works. But you're back to us. Let's continue talking about some things, John. As much as like we've already been through one map and, we have to fill right now, I'm actually super excited for this. Little short-term podcast thing going on about the Soniqs Tempo. I'm down with it. But headed back to Oregon, let's talk about Tempo Storm, because the last time around it was mostly about the Soniqs. So for Tempo Storm, for me right now, I feel like what's really strong about them is that they've put their fragging players in really pivotal positions to shine. Like we saw in the last map, creators really stepping up there, dropping 20 frags overall for the L. If we see that again inside of Cafe, this could be a whole different story with Mark in.
Yeah, definitely going to be the case if we are able to see overall that increased performance. I think even away from like the Mark thing though, we were still seeing quite a few players for Tempo stepping up to the plate in map number 1, which is often like a massively criticized thing when it comes to Tempo's play, is that oftentimes we don't see a lot of the individuals stepping up to the plate, and that aspect is very much missing from a lot of their games, at least in my opinion. And I think that I'm not the only one who has that opinion. But that wasn't necessarily the case here. I think we saw good examples of players like Dream and creators really having a lot of heroics on top of course, things like what we saw from Crazy in round number 1. So this is a kind of a promising individual performance that we're seeing across most of the roster right now for Tempo. And that's pretty encouraging signs as well for their capability to try to battle back into this series and open up more capability to take this to map number 3, of course.
Yeah, I feel like as of right now, between these two teams, these are our two oddballs inside of the NAL right now. And really for at least for Soniqs inside of my mind, it really doesn't even seem to be a game style choice. It just seems as though things as they've grown have slowly separated in the likes of performance. I don't know really what's happening on that front, but the setups that they're bringing for offense and defense are strong. Like there's nothing really out there besides like some performance issues that we've been seeing that have really been hindering their success. So hopefully they can get back to that for them. But Tempo Storm, this is like two-faced, let me tell you. We've only seen the positive side one time, and it was very, very strong. But then they go up against TSM, and it really feels feels as to me as like TSM just crumbled that team, like just took everything out from under them, and they had to start from square one.
Yeah, I mean, really made them humble themselves a little bit there. Because
I think it was too much, though. I think that's the thing. Like if I can be frank for you for a second, they got absolutely destroyed, and that is not good. That is not good for your mental. That is not good for your mental at all, John. Like I don't know how many people have done competitive things. A lot of people have played sports or whatever. But when you get destroyed by your opponent, and you think that you had a dog inside of that fight, it just destroys you as a person.
Yeah.
Like that's a mental challenge that you have to go through to overcome that. So for Tempo Storm, I really do feel as though they've just been putting the building blocks back together. It's not the fact that Tempo Storm is something terrible. It's the fact that Tempo Storm is back to square one inside of what they think their team is possible. Or not what their team is possible for, but what their team can do. I think that they can do a lot of things. I think they can get back to form and play extremely well. But it all starts here. What can they produce on Cafe? This is the full lineup in, and this is a very, very big match between these two. A lot on the line.
Yeah, obviously things have not gone very well with the way that the first map has started out, but plenty of opportunities for redemption here on Cafe. We are live once again, folks. Apologies for the multiple rehosts there. Just wanted to make sure we had everything squared away. So we're going to go back up to the third floor as the Soniqs will once again attempt to defend this, and hopefully they'll be able to reinforce this time, as that was the issue that caused the rehost the first time.
Okay, well, Slebin put a reinforcement down. Let's just count them out real quick. Hold on. Easily. Can you reinforce?
Got 2 down.
3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is right out the door.
4 down. We're looking. I think we're good. I think we're good.
I was really hoping that you were talking about Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, man. I said, you said 1, 2, 3, and then I said to the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door.
I think it's my fault. My talk back or like my preview, my microphone is like really loud today. So I've noticed I've been like having problems hearing people when I'm talking as well. That's
to be honest, I have a difficulty with casting with you over the internet anyways. Like for some reason your audio for me sometimes breaks up, and it's not their fault and it's not my fault, but I don't know what happens. But sometimes like you cut out every once in a while for me. This is a really weird thing, but that's the internet for you. Weird things happen all the time. Doesn't mean that we have to stop or anything like that. So Soniqs, pretty unique setup here. I really like what they're bringing to the table. I like that super reinforced downstairs, just so they have some safety, at least from crosses and stuff like that. I don't think that they're exactly going to be playing reading. Well, super actually is down low, so we could see some nitro cell action happening a little later on here. But this area of the map should be droned out by Tempo Storm. Let's see how this works out.
Obviously a bit of a delay before Tempo actually try to work themselves into the inside of the building due to the usual setups that you sometimes see from defenders, especially when Wamai is not banned. They can be set up in areas like Cigar to really get aggressive on players dropping into those hatches. Due to the fact that Wamai is banned, though, it's a much more restrained setup from the Soniqs. You can see, easily and Slebin holding the freezer and bathroom extremities from a little bit further back instead of playing from Pixel, as is often the case with Wamai in play. Slebin does see the player on Repel. He's going to try to swing out a little bit here. You still have that setup, actually, towards Pixel. So Slebin's going to try to shift him into position on top of that, but will very quickly lose the Goyo shield. Have to fall back to the other position that he now has for himself, a little bit deeper to the inside. Dream as well. Close the lineup he needs to take out the Legion on the other side of the coin. Hasn't gotten the peak just yet, though. An explosive's going to go through. That is actually going to clean up the POV a little bit here. Slebin will have to be cautious if he swings this. Drone's going to confirm his position, and he decides he doesn't want any piece of this. He's going to start to fall back. Oh, might be having some second thoughts, though. Definitely a bit of indecisive positioning here from Slebin. And in the meanwhile, we're going to see the Cigar walls get opened up by Crazy, giving him the actual capability to push and hopefully clear out the Legion.
Yeah, Tempo Storm caught off in kind of a weird instance right now. Nice frag grenade, excuse me, by Mark there to take down Iconic, but this is very slow beginnings here for Tempo Storm. Finally got some pressure onto the freezer here as they're getting the mirror window open, but it's actually not going to open completely. They have to be concerned about where Slebin's position is, though, inside of this bathroom, as they really need Christmas control here. We'll have to see where this freezer is going to go down, as they're still getting things prepped up. Still plenty of utility to be used as Slebin takes out Dream. That's a huge frag, but it's immediately refragged by creators. What else would you expect from this absolute masculine man as he continues the frag train on from the previous map? Ace charge finally finishing up inside of the bathroom as easily gets burnt from Ticket. They now have freezer control and the plant can ensue. Crazy walking into Freezer with the rest of the squad. Mark currently on the windows as well, but it's actually Super from White to take down Jarvis. Gompy from long range as well, able to get 2 from Heaven. Oh my, now it's Mark inside in a 1 versus 2, and he's got to clutch up. He knows that there's one Heaven, but there's also a bulletproof that he has to worry about inside of sight, and with very minimal time, he starts the plant. Let's see if the motion comes from White. Do they even know that he's planting? They do, and Gompy with the frag from Heaven once again through C1 begs Soniqs a defensive round they should have never had.
Oh, that was a nice shot from Gompy to end it as well. Shoots it, as he said, through one of the bars to be able to take him out with a headshot. Very well played indeed. And I was getting worried. We were seeing these little peaks every once in a while for Soniqs, and we saw like 2 to 3 of them in a row lead to someone on the Soniqs death. But Gompy changed the entire game up from Heaven there, got kill after kill after kill, and pretty much single-handedly turned that round into his team's favor to net them a second. That's 2 successful defenses in a row. And now Soniqs are going to shift down to the kitchen before mining unlocks itself for a replay here on the 4th round.
Okay, so offensive unit, not bad for tempo at all, John. I really like what they did there. The only thing is that they kind of botched it when it came down to actually getting a plant down. And the reason that I say that is they had a lot of pressure in towards Cocktail, which really wasn't the spot that they should have planted with the amount of picks that they had gotten. They should have went for either cart or default or anywhere on that side of the map, just the long bar in general. The fact that they kind of overextended into Cocktail was really the downfall of Tempo Storm. They could have held the crosses right where they were, and they only would have had to worry about Super downstairs with either a possible flank or the nitro cell. But with the amount of time that they had, even if he nitro celled someone as they were going for that plant, they probably could have gotten it picked up and attempted another one inside of a 3v2. But Tempo pushes way too far ahead and ends up getting picked apart by Gompy on Heaven. So Soniqs very resilient inside of that last round.
Also, once again, showing you the power of the extra scope going on to Mirror.
1.5.
Yeah, man, that you could frag with that thing.
It's beautiful, and as you saw upstairs as well, I was going to touch on this, but I didn't think that it was worth really talking about. They played Legion inside of Pixel instead of Warden, mainly because Legion has utility that's actually really good, not only for him, but the team, unlike Warden. So, you put the shield there, you put him there, not only with the T5, with the 1.5, but now you have goo mines to sprinkle across Christmas, which everyone knows how much I love those, so...
We're just not going to talk about that. We're just gonna quickly move on before this turns into like a 20-minute discussion.
Oh no, you're fine. Continue. I don't want to talk about Legion.
All right, Tempo already hopping in through the roof hatches here. At least Creator's doing that. This is going to be the top-down clear once again. 3rd floor clear should be pretty anticlimactic here, but oh no, Gompy trying to fall back is going to walk right into Dream, who is just patiently waiting for him to walk into his crosshairs. That's a free one for Tempo to start things out. Soniqs will have to control any remaining roamers out on the map here now, because if another one goes down, well, that's going to leave their anchors incredibly exposed in a 5v3. And we can see that now as Slevin looks like he's rotating back downstairs in order to get much closer to the actual team. Same can be said for Super, but I don't think Super was super far extended out anyway.
That was a really smart start for Tempo Storm. They knew that the roam game was coming from Soniqs after early intel, so he immediately ran into reading to cut off the rotate for them inside of Fireplace. So, like, you can't go from train anymore because he's there, gets that pickup onto Gompy, and now anyone that's supposed to be holding down that room so they have safety to go back is now stuck. The only area that Super can go is back to site. So very strong start here for Tempo Storm. Let's see if they can turn it into anything. They continue to get to this point in the game, John, but they're just not able to convert. They are pressuring downstairs now, though, as Creator's already shifted his sights to outside, worrying about restaurant as well as the lobby. But what they should be worried about is Slevin currently inside of Whiskey. Super jumps out of small bake and takes down Creators. That's a way to start out your defensive side here, Super.
Great play from Super to, at the very minimum, equalize the man count now and cause some momentary hesitation for Tempo Storm here, as now they have to be a bit more cautious about how they proceed into the actual site. They don't have that free loss anymore to be able to trade things back out further into the site. Now it's all back to an even game plan here. You also still got iconic delaying from the inside of downstairs Christmas too, back by VIP, so that's going to be an issue that will continue to plague them. However, they're going in. They're dropping in through the hatch right now. And as far as the Soniqs resistance is concerned, they don't have a whole lot by the freezer itself. The nitro cell will be flung in from the other site, though, taking out the first attempt to plant. Second one is going to need to be a bit more direct. Jarvis moves in to take out one. The plant does work itself down easily, actually just barely missing the planter by a second, but it matters not as they get the site back anyway and are going to be able to get that third round on the board.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to move away from the mic. That was pure comedy gold right there. It just runs right past the guy putting the bomb down. He's like,
it's like, oh, that's not important.
Oh, it's that guy. Oh man, what a strong start for Soniqs on defense. 3 rounds in a row now as Tempo continuing to try and adapt in the last minute, but just not able to do so. So, all right, okay, all right, dude. I don't even know, but what I can tell you,
guy, that's how you get that changed.
You gotta, oh my, you gotta DM Spencer.
Yeah, you gotta DM Spencer. Hit him up.
Gotta DM Spencer.
Get him to change the stats for you.
He's got an inside man.
Dude, that'd be a crazy conspiracy. Like,
dude, don't get me on conspiracies right now.
Started like paying CGG to make them have better stats or something like that. I'm just realizing that possibility now since it's not like data driven.
Oh man. And Spencer, can I pay you to have a positive rating if I ever play? I'd appreciate it. Thanks, man. I can't handle
how much for like 100% cost in a game?
Oh. Because no one's gonna go back and calculate it anyway. So if you like finish third into first on your scoreboard, right? And someone's like, oh, 100% cost. That's pretty good. No one's gonna go back and calculate that. Not a damn soul.
Guessing that one.
You know how long it takes to calculate cost?
I may have gone triple negative, but my cost was good. That's what matters.
I assisted every single teammate in some way.
All right, guys, back on to the initial site that the Soniqs defended, of course, back in round number 1. They've been doing a fantastic job so far with their defense here on Cafe, and are looking to double down on it with double victories on sites that they've already managed to take for themselves. Things are going to start out here in Reading Room, in fact, because I think they actually won Mining before, just to correct myself real quick, so it is a little different here for themselves, but either way, we'll see if things will continue to be successful for the Soniqs as they go back to the second floor.
Well, very similar setup here for the Soniqs as they still have top pressure. Easily once again playing stack. Slebin inside of Cocktail. Jarvis shifting his sights over to White top. Could put some pressure onto White stairs here, but he's just looking through the wall right now with his utility to see what they have upstairs. Something that IQ's very, very strong for. You can relay all of that information back to your team so they know exactly what they have to clear. So this is going to be a pretty strong start here for Tempo Storm if they're going to be able to get any pressure onto that top floor. Jarvis rocking the AUG as well, something that we don't see every single day. Mostly taken by, I believe, Uno, if I remember correctly, on G2 with that hollow suppressor setup. We saw him running quite often on the Wamai as well as the IQ. Slebin still holding strong upstairs as Tempo Storm's trying to figure out exactly what they can do, but they weren't aware of Slebin hopping outside. Jarvis gets burnt, but Mark with an immediate refrag, just not assuming that he was going to play aggressive.
A little awkward there for Slebin. Nearly gets him the second kill, but fumbles on the transfer. Either way, though, the impact is made. Brings it down to a 4v4. Soniqs will have a little bit more breathing room to work off of because of that. And now Tempo still looking to get building control for themselves. Also, more work to do with regards to clearing things out here now that they don't have the IQ any longer in order to spot any of the gadgets for them. Not that that's going to be a massive loss at this point in the round. I think most of the impact from that would have already come and gone. So we'll just continue to see the top clear being made here by Tempo. Creators, of course, leading that one as he approaches White stairs. Super just looking for the spacebar prompt there, and he finally gets it as he's going to be able to hop back into Fireplace. And now kind of a wait for Tempo to begin shifting themselves onto the second floor here. They've kind of ceded all the control over to Tempo back up on floor number 3, so it's all up to when Tempo wants to move in on the site itself that we'll start to see them drop down.
Yeah, well, the bad thing is that the Soniqs have had plenty of time to adjust. You guys saw Super work his way into dining and start making some more holes and such so that the team can get prepared. But were they prepared for reading? That's the real question. We need to see a Nitro Cell come through here as Crazy is actually going to get this off without a hitch. Dream taking a little bit of damage, but Crazy still gets it done. Now down into the 3 versus 3 for Soniqs as they're trying to fight back. They have pillar control, but Crazy quickly takes it away from him. Gomfi, the only remaining man over here, but easily. Very nice shot from the back end. They still have to worry about this verticality, though, as Mark now onto the triple kill. They also have creators upstairs, but does easily know that. He has to worry about 2 possible bogeys upstairs. Doesn't see the man behind the shield, but burns him anyways. Oh my, what a flick from Kev as he works his way into the dub. But no, Mark actually with a 4K on the round. Tempo Storm finally shut out an offense.
And that was a bit of an awkward one for Soniqs, to be completely honest with you. Soniqs had great positioning, seemingly anyway, on the site itself. I don't know if there was action towards White Stairs that pulled whoever was in charge of watching Library away from their position. But, I mean, you guys saw it on stream. It's just left completely open, the doorway into Library for the plant. And there doesn't seem to be even an awareness from Soniqs that it was going down until after the fact. So something went wrong in the intel game there for the Soniqs and allowed that plant to go down when it really had no business doing so that early on the timer.
It got messed up in a major fashion. And I think that the thing that was kind of a messed up there for the Soniqs is I don't know where they adjusted Iconic. I don't know, because so we had Super walk in, ping the wall. They did some more soft destruction and adjusted for what I assume they thought was a dining take initially. But right when the guy starts planning, reading, the smokes go down and such, and there was no one inside of reading at all to try and nitro sell him or anything. I don't know if the verticality had finally came through upstairs because we were mostly centralized around the players that were on site. But we could have seen Mark go upstairs and sledge some things up, which would have made it much more difficult for anyone to try and stop him from planting. Either way, though, really nice round there from Tempo, controlling the map and using the parts of the map to their advantage to push Soniqs back into an area that they were able to actually handle them, able to get, reading out of their control, get the plant down, and then eventually convert the round over.
Yeah, I did notice in the post plant, they had a pretty good pinch on anybody that would have tried to swing out from dining towards White Stairs or even try to move from dining over into Library itself. So I don't know if that contributed to the capability of them not being able to stop the plant. But I mean, once that plant was successful, the issue really compounded itself because of the fact that so many members of Tempo were still hiding on the 3rd floor and already had all those angles established for themselves. Post plant, it really just immediately shifted into Tempo being ready for the post plant as soon as the diffuser managed to get down onto the ground. Jarvis is going to spot the pulse here as he moved back into round number 5. They very much are aware of the fact that it's active. He can see it once again moving around here. Does anybody have the nade or utility to take him down, though? That's the question. Sledge is nearby, but Iconic is going to drop down to their floor here, so he should be safe from that, at least for the time being.
Good read from Jarvis there, as that was really, really needed. That's the second time we've seen a very aggressive nitro cell from Iconic, but obviously he doesn't know that there's an IQ on the board, so pretty easy to handle him when you have one. Tempo Storm now getting into the building, starting the top clear here. Let's see how much trouble this gives them this time around. The Soniqs have done a very good job of holding down things upstairs, but they've already adjusted this setup here. Gomfi now playing tighter inside of the Stacks hallway over towards Freezer next to the ladder. Got himself a shield there as well to assist with this cross, and Slebins is going to continue to play safe inside of C1. So this is a really, really nice, just low maintenance setup for the Soniqs here. Have the ADSs and everything to assist, as well as that castle barricade right behind Slevin. So a lot of positive things here. Jarvis going to take quite a bit of damage, but now it's Tempo Storm trying to attack this top floor setup.
Mark looking for a headshot here. He's going to miss the opportunity, though, as the player on the other side will drop down deeper into the inside of the closet here. Gomfi still nearby, though, can still find the impact or potentially get taken down. He's got to be a bit careful about this and how it plays out. He's going to hide himself on the inside of one of his smoke grenades, but unfortunately that obscures his vision pretty heavily, too. So Dream's not going to have too much of an issue isolating him out in the corner, taking him down. And once again, Tempo will get themselves the early advantage here as it's brought down to 5v4. It's going to be pushed even further, too, as Mark finds another kill here. Now at a 5v3, he'll continue to do soft destruction to open up more angles to work with here. Dream finally taking some hits as he falls, trying to figure out exactly where it came from. But minor issue for the time being is he's working on opening up the library hole.
Well, 30 seconds as Dream walks his way through reading. This isn't sight. No, it's not. It's actually engine as well as dining. So good pressure here for Tempo so far, but Soniqs have accounted for this as Slevin gets 2 big kills inside of engine. Jarvis and Mark both down. Iconic makes it even more difficult for them to try and fight out of this hole. It's went away from an equal man count now into the Soniqs' favor. Only 10 seconds remain as they need to make something happen, but I don't even know if they know that there's a man laying at his feet. Castle easily just gets away with it. He's almost able to get 2. Can he do it? No. Creators firing back, but very minimal time is going to make this damn near impossible. Still gets the pistol whip, but Soniqs once again win on time, John. That's 2 times in a row that they were not able to convert those rounds.
Crazy, just so unfortunate with what happened to him there. The pulse of the castle sitting right below him, hiding in plain sight, but he fails to realize that even after that third Selma charge detonates and becomes the very unfortunate victim of that hiding spot there. That's the beginning of the end, really, for the folks on Tempo for that round, as Soniqs are able to claim a 4th defensive round here. Possibility to make it 5, and for you, Stokes, to have like a 300 IQ prediction based on what you said in the pregame if we end up with that scoreline.
As much as everyone loves to tell me that, like, you know, I don't know that much, I kind of know some every once in a while. A little bit, kind of, sort of. They kind of pay me the bucks for a reason, you know? Anyways, getting back into things that actually matter besides me just gloating about stupid stuff. Soniqs, really strong so far on their defense, and I really think it's because of the mid-round adjustments that they've been able to pull off. This is some really good IGLing overall on these adjustments and what they're able to actually do to Tempo Storm. Every single time that Tempo feels like they have a situation figured out, Soniqs adjusted in some way to make it very difficult for Tempo to deal with. Like last time, they really didn't respect Engine. So, you know, Soniqs get away with a really nice 2K and instead of, you know, Tempo taking control of the round and winning, which you should in a 5v3. So it's just awkward stuff like that Tempo is not able to fight through, that Soniqs have done a very bang-up job of creating.
And as far as my memory serves me correctly, too, that was also an issue when Tempo attacked it back in round number 1 as well. There was a lot of presence over towards mining and the area just below the red stairs in that hallway that we never really saw exercised here. Goffy really wants this drone dead that he knew was placed there, so he's going to run right out and take that out as the round begins. Makes it out of there just in time, too, as there was a couple players spawning at the docks, so he needs to get back inside very fast.
All right, well, Tempo Storm mostly centralized around a red take. And yeah, as you said, like earlier inside of the game, they're also running into some of those issues. And I think that's a really good point. We don't talk about that too often on the desk in general, is that these mid-round adjustments are truly what win these teams a lot of games. So as much crap as you guys do enjoy giving Super, sometimes he does make some good adjustments, man. I'm just putting that one out there. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm a Super lover, but I'm also saying I'm not a Super hater. That's what I'm saying.
And moving swiftly on from that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's gonna get used like 80 times.
What? I mean, sure, why not? Use me, John.
It's gonna become a new thing. The super lover, super hater thing. I don't know.
Not a super lover. Not saying I'm a super hater either, you know. I'm just not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he does some good stuff sometimes. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely true. As our players,
yeah, absolutely true.
As our players move in, we're going to see one of the Valkyrie cameras quickly get taken out. That's that Ping 2.0 system coming into the picture there to help out Dream swiftly eliminate that without having to search on the chandelier for it. Drone work is still very much the name of the game right now for Tempo. As we scroll through all the players, you can see that good 3 to 4 of them still actively droning things out, whether it's for themselves or to support another teammate pushing through the map. As Soniqs continue to sit here and very much play like a horizontal setup for themselves here. There's not much top-down play happening at the moment for the folks over on the Soniqs. They're very much waiting for Tempo to try and take the site, because they did have some extended third floor and second floor control when they played Kitchen previously, but as far as I can remember, it didn't really go that well for them. So this is a pretty smart move to just pull it back and play downstairs, because that's where they eventually won the round, was on the horizontal hold in the last like 30 to 40 seconds of it.
Correct. I think it's a really smart change. And yeah, what you were referring to is the last time they had that roam game going on that we've seen a lot of teams trying recently, which is open up the freezer hatch, everybody hold third and second, and then eventually fall back into site to assist the team, right? Well, Tempo Storm immediately got control of reading and cut off the rotations for all of the roamers. So Soniqs thought better of that situation and said, hey, we don't want this to happen again, so let's just play horizontal instead. And it's worked out really well. I mean, this is the first guy to touch the actual first floor here, and we only have 30 seconds remaining. So I would say it was a very smart adjustment here for the Soniqs, but now Soniqs need to make something happen. Tempo Storm's going to be coming pretty fast here, as Iconic still holding down VIP. Lots of verticality here for Tempo Storm, but no picks able to happen from it, but easily gets picked apart, excuse me, speaking of which. Dream almost able to get 2. They've worked themselves into freezer now off the back of that smoke grenade from Iconic, but now Tempo Storm lighting up the scoreboard. Know that one's inside of Whiskey. Slevin's the only man left alive now after the smoke finally clears, but it's actually Creators on the bomb chassis to take him down, and Tempo Storm in the dying seconds find round 6.
One thing we haven't been able to talk about too much here is when Tempo Storm are able to get themselves to that point in the round, their entry capability is actually looking very, very strong strong right now. Specifically, just looking at that instance right there, that's the second time now we've seen them actually get off to a pretty good start, being able to drop down from the hatch and argue for some good map control for themselves. Unfortunately, in the first round, just wasn't really able to follow it through due to the nice hold the Sonics had set up for themselves. Not the case here, though. Tempo brute forced their way through it after getting hatch control, and then are able to finally close out on a second round for themselves, just in time, too, as the half is now over, and they get an opportunity to start swinging this back on defense.
Oh, well, Sonics, this offense. Ooh, I like what I'm seeing here. We're 6 picking off of the Maverick, jump on into the Lion for Super. This is going to offer a lot of things for the Sonics here. Most importantly, it's going to... Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm just dying today. For some reason, I keep burping while I'm talking. It was the most disgusting thing ever. But anyways, for the offense, specifically Super, with that Lion, it's going to be a really, really nice pickup for them. Because these positions that Tempo want to play on the defense are mostly forward, right? As Cafe usually plays out and covered by a shield. So bringing the Lion's going to make it to where they're not going to be able to move around the map like they want to at certain times, obviously dictated by Super. So whenever Sonics, start to pressure someone, make sure to watch for those EE1Ds as they try and restrict Tempo's movement.
All right, well, the Sonics are out and about for their first time on attack here. We do have the Lion in play, which is going to make for an interesting wrinkle in Tempo Storm's potential play, especially if they are trying to use the extended third floor hold. A well-timed EE1D charge could very much catch a player trying to move between positions and hopefully allow Sonics to get either an entry or potentially a few opening kills here if they're able to use that info properly. We've got the usual hold here from Tempo on the third floor, with most of the focus being on top white and Cocktail. So it's going to be up to the Sonics to breach through that and either force those players back to the site, or, of course, like I was talking about before, try to take them down by forcing them into uncomfortable positions.
Gomphy already with some white window pressure, so Tempo have to respect that, especially with this top hold that they have going on. Looking very similar to what we saw from the Sonics once again. So these guys on the same page, at least when it comes to team play in between these two. Slevin, though, working his way into Christmas with the rest of the squad. This top clear needs to go well. Hopefully they can use somewhat minimal utility so they're actually able to use it on site, but they've already burned through a lot of these ADSs. Look at that splash damage now, but still have one ADS that's good for at least one throwable for the time being. Good delay so far by Tempo Storm.
Tempo gonna get smoked out here, specifically Creators, I should say, gonna get smoked out from his position. Trying to watch and see if there's going to be additional pressure working its way into the main bar upstairs, and he's right to assume that. Marco gets spotted out by a drone passing by, and I think the drone might have actually survived that too, so follow up on that a little bit later on. Gomphy, now with the intel established, just waiting for his own capability to push through. And more support is not far behind out in the main bar. There's the first of the EE1D charges here. Tempo Storm want nothing to do with that. So both of the players that were still positioned upstairs are going to swiftly fall back through the hatch and look to control the actual site itself. That's full upstairs control. Now under the control of the Sonics. They've got a minute left to transfer it on site.
Yeah, and they need to make it happen. We saw Tempo get here quite a few times and had to struggle to convert. But we'll see if Sonics does any better with the pressure. This verticality working out super well for Iconic right now. Clearing out the back end of reading. Looks to be a reading plant right now for the Sonics, but oh, crazy. They weren't accounting for anyone to be downstairs. Slevin gets taken out practically from the trees. Weren't even ready for that one, as Crazy's going to continue to hold down Brown as well. Tempo Storm continuing to thwart Sonic's plan. Second EE1D in for the Sonics, as Iconic's going to take quite a bit of damage, but Dream gets down in the process. Iconic traded out, but oh no, Creators has worked his way up the staircase, and Tempo's all over the kill feed. Gomphy works his way into Cocktail, drops down the hatch. I don't know if anyone's heard him just yet, though. He's the last remaining member for the Sonics inside of this one before. Able to fry Mark as he works his way through reading, but not accounting for the Valkyrie. Sneakily hidden behind the casing as Crazy steps out, reads Gomphy his rights, and puts him right in the hearse.
Yeah, you're not going to be expecting both those players to be stacked up like that, so nice little change up there from Tempo at the end to guarantee a victory for themselves in round number 7, and more importantly, bring this game back to very close standings now at a 4-3 scoreline. For the folks on Sonics, it's still 3 more away from being able to close things out and take the series. It's now 4 away from Tempo being able to take us to a map number 3. Great start, and a great adjustment that we saw there as well, I believe was from Creators on the Jaeger in that last round, that after he got pushed pushed out of the third floor, rotated all the way back down towards the red stairs, and eventually made a play back up on the third floor from top red stairs, taking out massive numbers and definitely killing most of the offensive pressure that Soniqs had coming from a top-down angles at that point, and of course putting it into that awkward 1vx.
Very, very nice explanation there, my friend. Oh, by the way, just to update you all real quick, it was not Uno, it was Citizen for G2. That was my bad, trying to pull it from memory there, but so all of you guys can stop arguing in chat, it was indeed Citizen. So that was my bad, apologies on that one. But jumping back into this one, we'll have to see if we have any AUG gameplay, so that was relevant. We don't, because Wamai's not on the field, so there you go. So no AUG gameplay, but the Soniqs still bringing a lot of strong utility here. We're still going to have Iconic on the sledge. Nice pickup here, especially for Kitchen. See what they want to do with that. Besides that, though, Tempo Storm looking very strong on defense. Especially with this site, they are actually bringing a lot of roaming utility. I mean, we got Mute as well as Mozzie for the intel game, and Jarvis and Creators doing on the some of the most annoying ops in the game to really slow down this offense. Specifically, the Banshees of Malusi. It's practically like 10 feet in a radius of barbed wire, so...
All right, guys. Well, Soniqs out on the field. Once again, bringing the line into the picture. We didn't see that used a whole lot. It did accomplish the exact thing that I was talking about them hoping to do in the previous round there. Worked perfectly to flush out the players that were on the extended room upstairs. But beyond that, didn't really end up giving them a whole lot of useful intel for the actual execute. So we'll see if that's going to change up at all on this round here. Super is once again brought it to the plate, since obviously he can't use the Nomad, but since that's banned out. Crazy, of course, along with a few of the other members from Tempo, still just kind of rotating around here, getting into better positions to counter out some of the initial movements from the Soniqs, as they are going to drop in, take that initial control of top red. Gomfy, this is, in fact, doing that. Now, third floor control has been bargained for. They have that to work with. Time to start moving down, and, well, it's time to start fragging as well. Sleben finds himself a nice lineup, catching Creators, trying to move down those bar stairs.
Drone game working out well for the Soniqs. As you said, nice early pickup there from Sleben on the hell door. Still have to worry about someone inside of dining, though. It's going to be Dream. They do have White Stairs reinforced here as he tries to trade out damage, but not going to work out too well for him. Crazy gets a nice kill, though, onto Super. That's a Lion off the board, so that last EE1D not going to be able to be used. Crazy. Lots of pressure upstairs coming down onto him as he tries to work his way up red, but it's Iconic to stop him right in his tracks with the headshot. It's only down to Mark and Jarvis with this kitchen hold, and they got to make something happen here. That's why Mark's pressuring up these stairs so early on, especially inside of this situation. If he's able to get any kills here, oh no, he sees him. Able to get one. Can he get two? He can. Oh, Mark, the double kill. Can he get the guy inside of Newbauk? He cannot just yet, but that changes up the entire game plan for Soniqs as Mark makes a huge play.
Iconic desperately trying to hunt down Mark, but he's long gone already, falling back through the red stairs. The only benefit of this is the Soniqs still have a good amount of time to work with, so they don't have to massively panic just yet, despite losing those two players off of a massive play from Mark. It's now going down, of course. So that was 30 seconds remaining. It seems like they're getting ready to drop in through the freezer hatch. That would be the expected play from Tempo, though, so Tempo should already be set up to counter this. In fact, they are, but Iconic wins out the initial fight anyway. Everything goes to Mark. He's going to have to bring us a 4K for the clutch on this one. But we might not even get that first kill. He's already been found out just on the edge of the kitchen doorway. Does catch the player on the hop down. That's easily eliminated. Definitely won't be revived here for the next few seconds. And Iconic can't win it out either. A massive round from Mark as he finishes out the 4K and nets his team round number 8.
Oh my, Mark, what a round from you. Great decision making there to go up brown stairs. Folks, I know it's not the best decision in the world, okay? So let's tone down for just a second. But inside of those instances, when you are down 2 versus 4, 2 versus 5, whatever, you have to make something happen. If you let the Soniqs execute, it's already over. This is a professional play, folks. So if you let that happen, the Soniqs just win the round. There's no if, and, or buts about it. So they have to make something happen there. What does Mark do? Rotates up brown, gets 2 huge frags there, all because the Soniqs were not worried about somebody rotating. How about that for the Tempo Storm? Now they've equalized, folks. It's 4-4 right now in between these two. This is looking to be a game.
This is becoming a bit of a constant issue for the Soniqs as well. There's a lot of flanks that are being abused against them, especially in mid to late round situations right now. they have to be better at making sure that's covered for themselves. Because that's almost, if I recall, potentially 2 rounds in a row where someone flanks up behind them very late in the round and just destroys their execute potential when they were looking really good up until that point in the round. Soniqs, hopefully something that they can improve on very easily here with just a slight adjustment to their playstyle.
I also think you can chalk that up to the Nomad ban. This is something that we see quite often with a lot of teams that run a lot of Nomad. It gets to that point where you just really don't worry about it anymore, and it's not even in your your consciousness at all. And mistakes like that can be made. But again, even in that situation there, the Soniqs really had no reason to really be too worried about a rotation to happen strictly because of the man count. They really thought the last remaining tempo members were probably going to try and hold probably an off angle or some areas around some staircases to try and slow them down instead of them trying to, force the situation and run up Brown. So just very, very smart stuff there from Tempo Storm. Soniqs slowing down on the offense, though.
Interesting mirror window set up on the inside of the bathroom there. That's going to give Jarvis possibly some extended play capability if the Soniqs try to go for a bar execute. Also double reinforced out onto the site, too, so he does not have the dual angles to work with that we saw Soniqs setting up for back on the first half. He would have to swing to Pixel if he wants to contest anything out in Cigar itself. He might have a slight angle on the very right side of the room, too, depending on the way it's aligned. But once again, things are going to start out well for Tempo here. Mark's going to continue his rampage as he picks up easily at the beginning of the round and drops the diffuser. So someone's going to have to make a detour to pick that up. I think Mark might even be aware of the fact that he dropped the diffuser with that kill, too, as he sees me sticking around.
Did you see the mistake that was made there?
I didn't know.
No one was outside because there's no air jabs. So Soniqs, like, I'm going to assume their usual take for Cafe is air jab the window, get somebody on ticket, do this, do this, do this. Well, since the air jabs are off the board, I don't think that they followed through fully, and no one was there to try and stop Mark from hopping out of the window. That's just very, very unfortunate, because that is all of their hard breach. And attacking Christmas, you really need hard breach, specifically for the guy holding down bathroom. That's a lot of crosses that Jarvis has at his disposal that Soniqs now have to try and funnel into. Just like that, Slevin makes his way across, but this could actually be the game-changing play right here, as Slevin gets all the way into Pixel. This is a lot of control for him, and the reason is that he can pressure Jarvis inside of bathroom, but not as the Jaeger rotates up. Now we have Jaeger at the top of white.
Slevin literally crawling into position there for the Soniqs after losing their hard breach off the bat. As you said, Creator's now taking up the top white positions. He is going to get stunned out, but quickly taken out as well here by Gomfi. Tries to go for 2, but Crazy's going to get the better of him. Slevin's able to trade that out a second later, though. Dream also going to get dropped by Iconic, but you still have Jarvis playing on the inside of that bathroom position there, and he's going to be able to move out, taking down Slevin. That leaves only Iconic alive here. Iconic and Super alive for the Soniqs. Try and pull out a 2v2. Plan should be pretty safe due to Super's repel position, but no, in fact, we are going to see a 1-for-1 exchange. Diffuser does go down. Super should be able to dodge that Nitro Cell. Mark's immediately going to jump onto this, but Super never left repel. He just got to move up here, take him down. Mark reads it, though, can hear the repel swings. He's going to jump off and try to take the duel now. Mark jumps back onto counter diffuse, just baiting it right now. Oh, Super with the scope in and quick shot to take out Mark. Soniqs will take round number 9.
Now that is what we were talking about when it comes to adjustments, folks. The early picks happen for Tempo Storm, but Big Brain rotate all the way over to Cocktail, start playing the windows, use those EE1Ds, and Super staying alive for that amount of time won them the game. I mean, the EE1D usage really helping them out when it came to putting pressure onto the site, as well as forcing Tempo Storm to just stand still, as everyone says. So Soniqs now looking pretty good after that one, and Tempo Storm going to dip off of the bar site and head downstairs. Can't exactly blame them either.
A beautiful recovery as well, considering the way that the round started out. Tempo shouldn't get too shaken by that, though. Tempo's been doing a fantastic job of controlling the early rounds to a massive degree. And as long as that continues to be the case, Soniqs are going to continue to struggle to take up positioning and, of course, lead themselves into executes for the sites. So that's definitely something that we have to pay attention to once again as we move into the 10th round here, and potentially a split point between these two teams. Soniqs could really start to run away with things if that last round does indeed become the turning point, but Tempo could go right back to controlling these defensive rounds as they've been doing before, with a lot of their great roam presence that's been showing up and constantly surprising Soniqs all across the map here.
Well, there's a lot of things that Tempo have been doing that are just new. You know, there's a lot of things that we haven't seen teams bring, and I'm not going to call it unorthodox or anything like that because, I mean, within like recent times, Siege has really been like a team, you know, well, not recent times, at least for me, I'll be honest, at least for me, coming up with like new stuff and things like that. We've seen a lot of teams begin to innovate in their own play style and bring a lot of new things to the table. It's been super enjoyable being a Siege fan recently because of that. I think that we're going to start seeing Thatcher get played a lot more as well, and, you know, more meta changes coming through, especially with Ace and all that kind of stuff being more prevalent now. So, I mean, Tempo's really adhering to that and, you know, moving forward inside of their strat making, especially bringing more Mira now. I mean, we've seen quite a few Mira strats so far by Tempo Storm, where it used to be Mira would be up and no one would play her because no one had strats for it, you know? So Creator's going to start us off right here for Tempo Storm fans as he takes down Iconic. That's the soft destruction gone for the verticality. We'll see if they can continue on through this. Super now tagging up one of the members of Tempo Storm, Mark, now very low.
Mark's position, though, makes it incredibly difficult to put proper pressure onto the inside of Cigar, but he's going to be taken care of. Jarvis with the run out, though, is going to be able to take down Slevin and make sure Tempo stays in control. Brings it down to a 4v3 now. The Soniqs don't seem too dashed by that, however. They still have hard breach capability. They still have their intel coming from Super, and they still have the soft breach through Gomfi with both charges available as well. So Soniqs can still get the job done. They've just obviously got to be very careful once again about how they proceed forward, because just like the previous rounds, another run out here and another aggressive play from Tempo has cost them an extra player. You can see this as well. One of the Valkyrie camps still alive is getting great intel onto Easley's position right now. So we could see the beginnings of another aggressive swing if the Tempo Storm roster really wants to try and play for that. Kind of lost the opportunity now, though, unfortunately.
My bad. Apologies.
Oh, you're good. That was awkward timing.
It's all good. Anyways, so the bad thing is for the Soniqs right now, though, is it isn't really even the man count. It's the utility that's going to be damaging the Gomfi didn't even mean to kill that guy through the wall, but I think he got away with it unless that guy repeaked. I don't really know what just happened right there. My screen all of a sudden became boxes like I was playing Minecraft, but no, he ended up killing the Mira. So very big pickup here by him. Anyways, the Soniqs utility is what's really going to hinder them, as well as the intel game. They don't have any frag grenades or anything to prevent people from playing on these windows. All they really have is the vertical play, which is being utilized right now. I believe second to last EE1D. Yes, second to last EE1D being used for Super here, as Gomfi and the rest of the squad now trying to get this vertical play going. Obviously, it would be much easier with the hammer, but the breaching rounds do just the same job. Obviously not as well, though. Last EE1D now as Creators gets burnt off the engine, and he begins his plant. The Overwatch is strong as Jarvis takes down Super. Gomfi working his way as well, as Easley's actually canceled the diffuser. Stepping into the hallway, almost gets himself a frag, but low on mag count. Gomfi gets the frag as Dream rotates into engine as Jarvis in a 1v2, but he downs the man with the diffuser, and he runs away. Gomfi's gonna try and chase him down, but Gomfi, oh no, Gomfi, you can't get the kill, and Tempo Storm wins off time.
Everything looks so promising on the execute there for the Soniqs after once again suffering from early losses, but unfortunately lost the plot in the site itself, got into a trade war, and time started to run out. Easily jumping off the plant there might have ended up costing them in a very big way. As a result of him getting off there, they don't have confirmation. He goes down a few seconds later, and there is no time remaining for the final 1v1 to be finished off there. The last player alive for Tempo just runs away and hides. And once again, we've got another round being won on the timer, this time by Tempo, and this time to tie the game up at 5-5.
That round overall, it was so back and forth. I think that's the best way to put it. It was a really back and forth round, right? Especially early on. We saw some nice picks happen from Tempo Storm, some hop outs. There's a bunch of things going on early game, but when it got down to that late game time to execute, the Soniqs actually have a very strong entry point onto the site, especially with Gomfi getting that big impact frag on the ace. Oh, actually, excuse me, easily getting that very big impact frag on the ace, and then immediately going for the plant, but he doesn't stick it, and that's the biggest thing right there inside of that situation that could have changed a lot of things. Granted, they did end up getting the frag on the man that they were worried about, but Jarvis didn't even take any damage when he hopped off. I mean, if you saw, easily peeked the hallway, but I believe he ran out of bullets inside of his AK-12 and actually had to disengage from that gunfight and take his pistol out to try and help his teammate inside of Train. So all of a sudden, this is extremely winnable for Jarvis. Things are on kind of a very uneven timing on the offense. Steps right into the red double, fries the man with the diffuser, and just hightails it back into the other end of the site. So Soniqs, I mean, a little bit of a misstep there, but overall, just an amazing play by Jarvis.
Yeah, great play from Jarvis ultimately at the end of the day, especially in the 1v2 situation there. Knew exactly what he had to do and accomplished it, you know, with flying colors there. Takes out the diffuser. Only about 5 seconds left. He can run away from that one if he takes the duel. Obviously, he's hiding at that point. If he goes to the plant, that's an easy kill, as he has to confirm that one past 0 timer, and there was only about 4 seconds left. So, Tempo now back into a tie position with the opportunity to swing this back under their control and send us to a map number 3. Soniqs definitely probably getting a little frustrated at this point here with the way the last few rounds have played out and how often they've just run into these setups here. Oh, that's going to be really unfortunate for Crazy. Ends up almost accidentally peeking into Gomfi, and Gomfi survives with probably a single health point here, but still, Gomfi ends up winning the fight.
Very unfortunate for him. I'm pretty sure if the drone wasn't there, that initial bullet actually would have been the deciding factor in between that gunfight on who would end up winning. But the Soniqs now with a lot of pressure into the top and mid floor, but I don't think that they know that someone's actually on white stairs. Gomfi currently working up here, as well as has another member of Soniqs up top. Tempo Storm might be able to win a round purely based off of what Creators is able to accomplish here. I mean, this is some major pressure. And if this goes unchecked, this is practically the whole round, once again, out the window for Soniqs. They actually didn't even know he was there. Easily now dead, and that's the hard breach gone.
That moment-to-moment reaction there from Creators, so good to take out easily as well, man. So many of these kills just happening within a moment's notice, and it changes up the round in such a big way. You still have Dream at the bottom of the hatch here as well to deal some damage in the event that the Soniqs want to try to go for that play. We do have one of them rotating back around, possibly to work their way in through the garage, soft destruction instead. That could help to potentially deal with the position on the inside of VIP. 45 seconds left. The Soniqs are still looking for an entry route here to work off of, still isolating more top-down angles, and in the case of Iconic here, trying to line up a grenade or a grenade angle for him to try and throw one down, but it's not going to lead to too much. All 3 of the remaining Tempo players are still in strong suits. They're all at full HP. They know that the Soniqs are going to be above them, trying to drop down in a panicked fashion, so it's just a matter of waiting for it and being able to train their aim properly when the time comes. Here they roll in. Jarvis immediately going to shut down Slevin when he tries to push forward. That's Diffuser going down on the ground. Iconic does retrieve it. Now he's going to try to go for the plant pretty much on his own, though. Super is here to assist. The Nitro doesn't kill Iconic, and it looks like he's going to get it off. In fact, he does. Super putting additional pressure on for the main kitchen door here, and he's not the only other player left here as well. You still had another one upstairs in the form of Iconic, but he's now gone, so it truly falls to Gomfi upstairs, and Super still playing outside by Whiskey here. Super, of course, is peppering in shots, hoping to delay the retake here as they don't have anyone directly on the diffuser. Gomfi looking for that player. Super falls. Gomfi needs to find the angle. He can't see him. Mark's just going to sneak off the diffuse, and Tempo get themselves yet another round, and more importantly, up on the map point.
Oh my, John. Every single one of these rounds getting pushed to the brink for Soniqs, and like, oh man, I can't even describe it, how like they can taste it, John. Every single time they get here, they get all of the verticality done, everything open that they like really need. I mean, the only thing that they didn't have at their disposal there was hard destruction, and they still did a fantastic job of actually getting pressure into sight. So for the Soniqs, these rounds should be wins for them. I mean, this is probably 2 rounds out of this offensive set so far where, I mean, it was as good as gold inside of their hands. And all of a sudden, Tempo Storm able to find some way to battle back. And on that one, it's all perspective. He just sits right behind the metal pillar and diffuses the bomb. I mean, some crazy stuff coming out for Tempo Storm, and now they're up onto map point. This would push us all the way to coastline.
That Nomad ban really proving to be worth its weight in gold once again as well here for the Tempo Storm roster. Soniqs constantly getting caught off by these roaming players that are in somewhat unorthodox positions here, but are still catching Soniqs nearly every single time they try to make a play. Like we saw at White Stairs there once again in the last round, obviously to take out their hard breach capability, slowed down the Soniqs push, and definitely hurt their capability to try to set up angles towards the end of the game, since they didn't have any hard destruction set up in the site to give them better post-plant angles.
Okay, well, very important round here for Soniqs. This decides their fate moving into the future. Are we staying on Cafe, or are we going to Coastline to decide which one of these teams is better than the other? I don't Really, no. Couldn't tell you. Tempo Storm's looking really strong right now. Soniqs, though, these offenses, once again, very close to completion every single time. So I really feel like this weighs on how Tempo plays out these defenses, on how successful Soniqs is going to be. Tempo, not afraid of playing aggressively. Creators moved all the way up inside of Shaiko's spot. This is a regular one for people. Very good angle for a lot of things here, especially the hatch and the skylight. But Creators immediately going to dip out as he continues to peek on through.
He's going to fall back to his safe position on the inside of Cocktail. Has a lot of reinforcements to work with here, as well as utility, so should be in safe regards for the rest of the round. May not be the end of Crater's aggression, though, so we'll check back with him a little bit later on if he decides to try something as well. Because of this fact, though, Gomfi and a few of the other members of the Soniqs have been able to move into Cigar with relatively little pressure being thrown at them by the Tempo roster. The beginning of the top clear has already begun. Just going to have to try and fish out players like Mark a little bit deeper there on the third floor before they fully have control and can start working on their execute. And if they do it just within the next few seconds, that's once again great overall timing here by the Soniqs with regards to them getting map control here, with still about a minute and 45 seconds for them to actually set up their take. But Craters is still up here. They still have to deal with him, so they're not in the clear just yet. Same can be said for Mark. Oh, and Mark's actually going to get taken down by Craters. A good save potentially there from Mark, because he didn't seem necessarily ready. Iconic will get a kill on Jarvis somewhere else across the map here. Another EE1D charge getting utilized. Mark ready for the swing at the window, but he's not going to get it, and just constantly throwing off the Toxic Babes over in Whitehall as well to prevent any pushes. Another swing from the window player. It's Slebin, in fact, that's going to be able to take down Craters, and it's now left Mark in a very precarious position. But he's not alone. Crazy's also worked his way up White Stairs and is providing additional support in the event they push down Whitehall as well.
Well, they've gotten off Repel now, so Mark might be able to actually shift his sights into Cocktail. I don't even know if they know that he's here right now. That's the big problem. Crazy's now got white pressure, and he's got that nitro cell ripped, as we saw earlier. So there's a lot of things that could happen here. I think that this is more than likely going to go Mark's way. That M590 in close range, not to be tussled with. Misses the first shot, but ends up killing one. Nitro cell out. Can it kill him? Oh, it can. The Lion dies, and all of a sudden we're on 2v2 once again between these two teams. But easily, with a very nice frag, takes down Crazy, and they're already ready for the plant. Dream moving in, trying to force this into their hands. They end up winning this round, and this is all theirs. When we go to Coastline, he gets the first frag, but Easley's not going to hop off the defuse. He plants it. AK-12 in hand now, up against the SMG-11. Two fantastic weapons. Either one can kill each other in a split second as he begins to pressure the door. Doesn't know exactly where he's moved to, but assumes that he's moved out white. Starts the diffuser. Dream pressuring now, but he's sticking it. Can he stop him? He can. Easily walks in. Pros don't fake Dream, but most of the time they end up dead.
Nice play from Easley there to shut things down in the 1v1, but once again, Soniqs coming so close to the brink, finally able to at least shut down this round in their favor. But in this case, it's only going to trigger OT. We've got 3 more rounds coming up here. First team to 8 is going to close out on this map. And as we've already mentioned a few times here, in Soniqs' case, it's going to win the series. Tempo's case, it takes us over towards Coastline. And once again, man, Soniqs constantly getting tripped up by these little things that aren't checked for, as we see Mark able to find impact from hiding just at the edge of the White Hall outside of Cocktail.
Mm-hmm. I'll be really honest. I think that the drone... Oh, what's up?
I was going to say, like, I don't blame Soniqs as much for that one, because that one's a little bit more unorthodox, but just a continuing trend. But go ahead, continue with what you were going to say.
No. I think that you were perfectly right in what you were saying. And that was actually exactly what I was going to talk about. What I was going to talk about is, it actually wasn't the position of Mark, but what's happening to the Soniqs in the early game. The drone economy is strong. They've been very good with their drones, but when it gets down to those last little moments, mostly past like 1:30, that's when things kind of get drastic for them. There's no real intel gathering for them, obviously, because it's all on drones. I mean, there's no other utility to try and help them with that. So when the drones all get shot and they no longer are able to check anything, because most of their drones will be dedicated to flank watch or something very important, then they have to go throughout the map and try and find where people are. And they continue to get caught up on this, which is allowed Tempo Storm to make quite a few adjustments inside of the mid game that brings them back into the match almost every single time. So for Soniqs, I think it's just going back and checking those boxes. Just because you assume something's clear doesn't make it so.
Yeah, and that's part of the issue here, is that's often been the problem for the Soniqs when it comes to their attack, is just not checking or not watching things, and it's constantly, and I mean constantly, because it's been almost every single round.
I'll say it again. Constantly.
Yeah, like constantly having to deal with either a player on a flank or, in the case of the last round, a player on an unchecked angle, something like that. Just always gets away with a multi-frag or at minimum a 1-to-1 exchange that pushes Soniqs into a much tougher position in the round. Things are going to start out tough for them on this round too, easily. Once again getting down. Might be hope to recover him, but even that's going to be tough because Jarvis still has that position downstairs and could also have an angle onto the player going to revive him. So
okay, so spawn kill outside. Not only is it the ump though, but he downs easily, who now only has 20 HP. He's used one Selma as well, but the real problem is that someone had to go all the way outside to get him, and that wipes a lot of time off the board. As little and innocent as it looks, it's, oh, he got spawn killed and he got down. That's actually a big change here in Sonic's game plan. That's quite a bit of time off the board. Nitro still out, and it's going to bag Sleben as well. Sleben, one of the most impactful fraggers on the team thus far throughout all of Cafe, has been easily and Gomfy assisting him in that regard.
Comfy, of course, in to the building for the Soniqs, and he's not alone either. Super sitting close behind him, just finishing out the top floor clear, which they'll get done now. No real reason, it seems, for Tempo to continue holding up here either. Now that they've got the man advantage established for themselves, they seem to be happy with the 5v4, and they pulled most of their roamers back either onto a first floor hold in the case of Creators, which something could happen with that late round if Soniqs aren't careful. He's already done it multiple times. And of course, the rest of the team hiding out on the second floor in the actual site. So top-down pressure now being established by the Soniqs. Like you mentioned before, though, because of the fact that the Sledge had to go out and res his teammate, this is happening in a pretty delayed time. And it's not going to leave him with a whole lot of excess for the actual execute here. So good damage, though, going on to both Dream and Crazy. Mark, in fact, able to finish off easily, though. Takes him out of the picture finally, but there is an exchange from Gomfy, as he's also able to eliminate Dream.
This is still a major problem, though, because Tempo Storm have 4 people alive going into the last 30 seconds. They can cover every means for them to get towards site. But Iconic, with a very well-placed frag grenade, picks up Crazy. Now down to the 3 versus 3, but what else would you expect between these two besides a Hell in a Cell? Jarvis with a very nice audio cue there. Sends Creators through the works, or excuse me, Super through the works there, as Iconic picks up a frag on the other side of the map. Low time execution once again. Diffuser's outside. That needs to be picked up as Iconic hops inside. Gomfy actually picks up Mark on the rotation. Jarvis, once again in the clutch. Exact same bomb site. Similar positions to last time. Rotates into pillars. Now knows that the plant has been confirmed as that 0-0 hits.
Jarvis being so careful about what could be lurking on the inside of Fireplace right there. Even trying to spam into it in hopes that someone was hiding in the corner. Not going to be the case. Moves in. Tries to isolate out Iconic and succeeds in doing so, but at a heavy cost to his own HP. Now brings him down to 25. Gomfy's going to stay quiet, sit behind the engine, wait for the Jarvis rotate to work its way back in. He'll get a little bit more aggressive as he swings out towards the hallway. Some fire from Jarvis, though, does reveal it. Now Jarvis trying to work his way back through the Fireplace. He's going to get his way into train. Still needs to isolate where Gomfy is, though, and he can't get it done. Gomfy remains stealthy throughout that entire 1v1 and picks the perfect moment to strike in order to give his team the win. And now, once again, put the Soniqs up on map point, and in this case, match point.
These rounds are so unpredictable going into the late game. Like, one team has so much favor in their hands, and then it's just all of a sudden out the window. Other team just rolls it back immediately. So we are going to be shifting things up, obviously, folks, since it is overtime. Going to be switching sides now. So the Soniqs on defense, they're headed to kitchen. Tempo now on offense. So let's jump into that last round a little bit. Tempo Storm had a really, really strong beginning there. I liked how they were able to get the picks early on, especially with how Mark was playing that dining position. He really wasn't afraid to challenge a lot of things, and that's why he got all of those kills early on. Also, little side note, he's the only guy I've seen use the new Hollow inside of professional play. So good on you for that, Mark, even though that site's a little garbage, but we won't say anything more about that. The rest of Tempo Storm, though, really strong showings, all except for that last instance where the kill feed started to light up for the Soniqs. There was a lot of engagements that were taken there that we really shouldn't have seen. Granted, the one did come from a very, very well-placed frag grenade by Iconic, so you really gotta give them the benefit on the doubt on that one. But when it comes to trying to hold down that site instead of that 3 versus 3, you gotta make sure that those things are at least refraggable. A lot of kills coming through Iconic in those dying seconds.
All right, guys, coming towards the end of the line here now. The Soniqs are going to double down on their first floor defense. hoping that they can find a victory within this site. They've had pretty good track record. I think it was 1-1 back in regulation for them. They won it once, and they lost it once due to Tempo getting too much control around the hatch and eventually being able to execute off of some really good entries as well. So assuming they're able to prevent that, then things will more than likely be in pretty good straits here for the Soniqs. But considering the even record, still a lot of possibility for Tempo to take this one as well. Expect a top-down clear, even though Soniqs are playing this incredibly horizontally. And let's actually get confirmation on that from Tempo. Yep, all 3 players are heading up to the roof. They will take control up there and start to work their way down.
Okay, well, hopefully we see some good droning going on, as actually I'm going to take back exactly what I said. I assumed that someone was in dark spot there because he was actually boosted up on top of the little box inside of Coat Check, but I was just mispositioning on my end. Apologies for that, folks. But, so Tempo Storm going to be clearing out the top floor as well as the secondary. Don't have to worry about too much, though. As previously stated, Soniqs on that horizontal hold. So we'll see if Tempo can do this just a little bit faster than they did the last time. Once they drone out the top floor and start getting some mid-pressure here, we're going to see that verticality come through. But that's where things start to change. Soniqs are mostly set up for a white take here. As you guys can see, we have the smoke back in VIP, but that doesn't mean that things can't go awry for the defense if that does happen. Actually, the round that happened on Kitchen for Tempo Storm happened by them flooding into sight from white through iconic smoke. He smoked off his own angle, couldn't see them cross, and they ended up working their way in that way. So Tempo Storm very resilient when it comes to trying to get that diffuser down.
All right, guys, about half the round having gone by in a very, very quiet chain of events so far here. Tempo trying their darndest not to be able to make any mistakes on the way to the site, which is often the case back in the initial regulation half. Not seeing as much of that this time, though, and the Soniqs as well, not throwing a lot of aggression at them, just like was the case after the first attempt was made by them. Even though that attempt was successful, the roam game was not necessarily. 2 Selmas are going to be used to be able to open up the hatch here and give Tempo their more than likely entry point that they will try to use, considering they've used it on both of the previous attacks on this site as well. Could expect some additional pressure to come towards the white stairs, but as long as Iconic maintains this position, the Soniqs will be in pretty good shape to make sure they continue to control this round. Iconic, seeing that the smoke was tossed in his direction there, is going to instinctively throw down one of those toxic babes. He knows the execute can't be too far away. Start to swing a little bit on the white angle too, just in case anyone's nearby. Mark with a missed opportunity there does see a player going past his vision, but thankfully he's going to make up for it with a very well-placed nade, taking out Gompy. But Iconic is there just as quickly to trade it from his position at VIP. Easily will be able to move in just below the freezer hatch, taking out Crazy as well. That brings it down to a 4v3, and with only 20 seconds remaining, Tempo don't have any time to make up for this. They have to recommit, get themselves to the inside of the site, and here we go. Iconic shuts down another one, looks for the hatch drop, but is going to be unable to get it. Easily picks up that kill, and Iconic finds the final one from back out towards the Christmas tree. It's going to be the Soniqs shutting it down after some very scary rounds. They retake control in overtime and end the series 2-0 with a final map score of 8-6 here on Cafe.
Amazing match.